I want to start, there's a lot of problems that today in the Web 2 ecosystem when it comes to social media. When you look down the horizon, how do you see social media will look like in a Web 3 reality?
Well, I think before I answer that question, we really have to look at social media as it stands. I mean, we've got 60% of the global population is spending an average of 3 hours a day. And social media Web 3 is actually controlled by a few corporations, right? You've got Facebook, who control Meta, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, etc. So can you imagine that our entire content creation, consumption, data, and how we act and interact is controlled by a select few corporations, which is scary. And I think we've seen it much more so, and it's been a real reality check into where we are in the current humanitarian crisis as to what we see, what we hear, and how that is manipulated to us. Web 3 kind of challenges all of those norms in social media. Number one, Web 2 is centralized, right? Owned by a few corporations. Web 3, the entire premise of Web 3 is decentralization. But it's also much more of that. It's about a creator owning their own creation, their own data, their own privacy laws, and allowing them to somehow benefit from tokenized ecosystems. So Web 3 is the future for social media. However, you know, if you look at kind of Web 3 and adoption, global adoption, like worldwide, you know, it's still less than 5%. And Web 3 social media has not prevailed or has been as successful as one would have predicted. So, you know, whilst the whole world is screaming for a more decentralized social media, you know, experience, you know, the adoption has been very far and few.
So let me ask you about the monetization process. To what extent is monetization different for Web3 when it comes to social media platforms that are traditional, that we use every day?
I mean, if you look at it, like social media, you know, the few big corporations are making trillions of dollars from everything that you see, that you consume, and that you create, right? Only 1% of all social media and influencers actually make money online. Web3 seeks to democratize earnings. You know, they have tokenized ecosystems. They want to reward users and consumers. So it's a very, very different, you know, demographic and ecosystem. So really, I mean, it's actually what we try to create with Lyvely. What we try to create with Lyvely is, what is the future of social media? The future of social media has to be that you are able to monetize from your presence and you're able to reward your users and the people that consume content. That can only really be done in a tokenized ecosystem, which is Web3.
And what role do you think, you know, personal branding will play a role in this ecosystem? For example, right now with Web 2 like platforms like TikTok, for example, creating content has become very easy. How do you see this evolving and the importance of a personal brand in a Web 3 ecosystem?
Look, I mean, look, TikTok, you know, Instagram, you know, by making reels and templates and everything, content creation is becoming easier. But why is that? It's because Web 2 wants you to create mass content, and they want this scrolling culture, right?
Yes.
Why is 3 hours of the day with every individual scrolling through? They're creating followers. Why? Because they want to track you. They make trillions of dollars from you being on Web 2, scrolling aimlessly through TikTok. Does it benefit you in any way? Actually, the contrary. Personal brands, Henri, is super important. Why? Because the only reason you could truly monetize from a niche community or the community that you have created is building a personal brand that is authentic, that has a message, that is education in purpose.
Content creation is much easier with AI. And I think this is something that we have seen recently. So to what extent is AI as well disrupting Web3 content?
That's a really amazing question. Look, I love AI, and I think the innovation of AI and the adoption of AI is like super exciting, right? And there are amazing AI tools now that are available for content creators, right? Which is great because creators spend so much time trying to make content. So why don't you make their life easier? However, the positives, I think, is the fact that AI almost, provides a democracy. Why? Because it means that creators that don't have the technical skills or the mindset or the creative skills can now actually create content using the AI tools. But I think what's going to be interesting to note is, what does AI actually produce? And it creates this abundance of content, right, which is what, you know, Web 2 and big tech want you to do. This abundance of content, it's going to be less authentic. And so whilst I'm super excited about AI and AI adoption throughout the creator economy, I think the key is going to be finding the balance between using AI efficiency with the emotional resonance.
That's very interesting. And what do you think, Farah, will be the big challenge that we may see in the future as we go to this Web3 ecosystem for social media? What are some of the big risks or challenges that you foresee?
I think the challenge is always that people don't have time, right? And they're used to this Web2 ecosystem that has been, it's so seamless. It's been provided for you. Now, how do you move to a different ecosystem that is actually beneficial for you, right? That's the major challenge. But I think people are getting smarter. People are getting, you know, we have so many creators that have millions and millions of people and followers, but they're like, we're getting tired. We're getting tired of trying to battle the algorithm that Web2 big tech puts on us. So what is the next step? The next step is taking ownership. It's saying, I'm a creator. I spend all this time creating content. I don't benefit from it. Big tech makes all of my money from content consumption, creation, data, and everything else. I am going to take this into my own hands. And really, also what we're trying to do with Lyvely is see yourself as an entrepreneur. See yourself as a business. See yourself as a personal brand and monetize. Even if you have 3 million followers on TikTok and you could convert 100,000 of your authentic community to actually pay for what you do, that is the future. How do you do that translation?
A different vision for Web 2 when you compare it to Web 3. And I want to thank you so much, Farah, for joining us today in Crypto Weekly. Farah Zafar, CEO, co-founder of Lyvely. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Very grateful. Thank you.